How did Aharon HaKohen do Kiruv? Welcome to the JewishNewsChannel.com and Matzav.com. And as far as I can tell, the first person in recorded history to do Kiruv on other Jews was Aharon HaKohen. Of course, Avraham Avinu did Kiruv on Bnei Noach, but Aharon HaKohen, right after Matan Torah, is the first that we find doing Kiruv on other Jews. Did you ever wonder, how did he do it? What was his Kiruv approach? Did he host Shabbatons? And while there are many, many good Kiruv approaches out there, Aharon HaKohen had a very unique one, and this blew me away when I saw in Rabbeinu Yonah. He explains that Aaron would see people who he thought were doing Averas privately, secretly, and he would befriend them. He wouldn't mention anything about the Avera per se, but he sensed there were issues, and he would become friends with them. And that person would then say to himself, I'm friends with Aharon HaKohen. Wow, Aharon HaKohen, I'm special. And I can't let him down. Imagine if he knew that I was doing this thing in private. He would not be happy. That would be a disaster. So it would actually inspire people, just the friendship, just the connection, even without Aaron actually saying anything to them outright, and that would bring them to do tshuva. Aharon HaKohen, of course, was Oyeves Abrios, Makarban LaTorah. Rabbeinu Yonah is saying that those two things went hand in hand. He was Oyeves Abrios, and that was how he was Makarban LaTorah. That was his Kiruv approach. And there's actually a study. There were two amazing studies. One study, they asked, well, before I get to the study, let me just explain that people logically knew they shouldn't be doing the Avera, but that wasn't enough to defeat the yetzer hara. That wasn't enough. The struggle that Nisayan was too overwhelming. But that connection with Aharon HaKohen, that put them over the top. So the logic didn't help in certain scenarios, but the emotional connection to Aaron, that was actually a more powerful force. And I think you find this over and over again, this musik, this concept that our emotions sometimes are what we need to use to overcome our yetzer hara, because we know logically what we should be doing most of the time, but we need that emotional strength. And that connection, in this case, was what gave people the emotional strength, the connection to somebody as chashuv as Aharon HaKohen. I think this lesson affects us in so many powerful ways. There was a study done where they spoke to prisoners and surveyed prisoners, asking them about their experience in the criminal justice system, criminals and prisoners. And they said, rate your experience, was it good or bad? And they analyzed their answers. And what they found was amazing. They found that some prisoners felt they had a good experience. Obviously, it can never be too great, but some had a good one, some had a negative experience. And they realized that there were prisoners who actually went to jail for years who said, I had a positive experience, where there were some who actually got acquitted or got out right away and said, I had a bad experience. And they asked them why. And they said, the ones who had a good experience said, well, my lawyer came to visit me once a week, once a month. My lawyer kept me updated. The judge was very nice to me. He was kind to me. Even though they got 10 years in prison. Whereas other prisoners, even if they were acquitted, the judge treated me like dirt. My lawyer never called. He never is in touch with me. He doesn't care. And it boggles the mind. You would think whether they had a positive or negative experience would be based on one thing. Did you get acquitted or did you get convicted? But no, that didn't matter in all cases as much as the personal connection. They wanted to feel cared about. They wanted a connection to another human. They wanted to feel special. Mind-boggling. Now you say to yourself, all right, prisoners, maybe they're, who knows, sociopathic, maybe they're just irrational. But they did a very similar study on venture capitalists, on investors. And they said, did you have a good experience investing in a certain business? Was it good or bad? Was it positive or negative? And again, you would think it's based on one factor. Did you make money or did you lose money? Amazingly, they discovered that some venture capitalists said, even though they lost money, they felt it was a positive experience. Why? Because the business owner they invested in gave them weekly or monthly updates, wrote them reports, called them. They kept that connection. They kept them updated. They kept them in the loop. They made them feel important and special. Whereas other venture capitalists who actually made money sometimes said, negative experience. Yeah, I made money. They never call, they never write, they ignore me. It boggles the mind. You would think that a VC, a venture capitalist, an investor, his experience, positive or negative, depends on one factor. Did you make money or did you lose money? Was it a good investment or was it a bad investment? But people want that emotional connection. Aharon HaKohen knew this. He knew it without the studies, without taking a survey. And this is something that is reinforced later and later. The world has now, in recent times, proven what Rabbeinu Yonah, Chazal, and Aharon HaKohen already knew about humanity, that we need that emotional connection. I've used this personally many times in my life. I'll let you decide how you can apply this. I've used this in business. I've used this as a private tutor to children and to their parents to keep that connection, to make it a great experience for everybody involved. And you'd be amazed at how much you can personally gain, because when you make others feel special, that benefits them. It benefits you too, depending on the relationship and scenario. One area where I think that it can help all of us this time of year, as Pesach approaches and we're all super busy, crazy busy, and we really don't have enough time with our family, in most cases. So what do? How do you show your kids the attention that they need? And I believe that very often, even just a few minutes a day with a kid, nothing can replace having more time with a kid. But even just a few minutes, if it's spent correctly, can do an awful lot. So you come home at night. I know you're stressed. I know we're tired. I know we're busy with a million different things. Our kid comes over. They want to talk about what they learned in school that day. They want to tell you about their teacher. They want to tell you stories that maybe we don't always find completely fascinating and intriguing. And they just want to tell us about their mundane day, the mundane aspects of their day. 10 minutes, 15 minutes where you just completely laser focus on them, look into their eyes, be excited, be enthusiastic, and show them how much you care about their day and how special they are, and you want to listen. Ask them, so how was your day? How was school? What did you do? Recess. 15 minutes. That could be more valuable than 3 hours spent with them where you're not really focused and you're busy on your phone or you're busy making lists and doing preparations and whatever else you might be doing. So I think that's just one area of many, many where we can apply the lesson of Aharon HaKohen's Kiruv to our own lives. Thanks for being here on the Jewish News Channel, and we'll see you next time.